Very good morning to all of you, my dear students. Today, myself, Peeraj Sir, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering Department GKCEM, welcomes you to our official YouTube website, Tech GKCM. So, today we will learn about the concept of production, the definition of productivity, and product life cycle. We are all very aware of the term production system as we usually used it various times in our daily life. Production system is nothing but the methods, procedure or arrangement which includes all functions required to accumulate or gather the inputs, process or reprocess the inputs and deliver the marketable output goods. So basically production system is a buying of the raw materials from outside, processing it in the industry using various different manufacturing processes like casting, welding, fabrication, or you can say it's forming, or you can say it's machining, and ultimately we are receiving the final end product. So it also utilizes materials, funds, infrastructure and labor. Now we come to the definition of productivity. Productivity is defined as the ratio between the output and input. You also know that the ratio between the output and input is also defined as the definition of efficiency. Now, the factors affecting national productivity are human resources, technology, and capital investment, and also government regulation. The other factors that affecting productivity in manufacturing and services are product or system design, which is very important. You all know design is very important. The machinery and equipment, the skill is also very much needed, and effectiveness of the worker. And last is the production volume. Now, if we talk about the increasing productivity of resources, we need material, labor, plant, equipment, and machinery, and also land and buildings. Now, again comes the meaning of production. Production can be explained as an act of either manufacturing or mining or growing of goods. You already know, we have talked earlier, generally in a bulk or bulk for trade. The meaning of the system, you know what is a system, or you can already I have defined the production system. From there you can define the system as an arrangement or assembly of interdependent processes that are based on some logic and function. Now again, there are three things mainly affecting production system. They are known as the inputs, then it comes to the conversion process, and ultimately we receive the output. The inputs, generally you know, the raw materials, machines, man hours, components are design, drawing, instruction and other paperwork. And the conversion processes are comprising of receipt, raw materials, purchase receipt, storage, issue of materials, inspection of parts and work in progress, testing of products, quality control, warehousing of finished products, etc. And the final of the output is the finished product. Now there comes two important terms, that is the tangible goods and the intangible goods. The tangible goods consists of the physical product, or you can better say the product you can have it, you can touch it, you can have it in your hand. But in case of intangible goods, you cannot have it in your, you cannot touch it, but you can see it, or you can store it in a storage device. Let us take an example for defining tangible goods. Let us consider a manufacturing industry like a sugar industry, where sugarcane is first used as an input. Then the juice of the sugarcane is processed through a conversion process, finally to get an output known as refined sugar, used for mass consumption. So the refined sugar, you can feel it in your hand, or you can have it in your hand. But in case of intangible goods, consider an example of service center industry that comprises of a software development firm or company. Here the written program codes are used as inputs, and the final product we get is a form of executable application form program. That program you cannot have it in your hand, but you can see it, you can use it, or you can store it in a device. So basically in conclusion, you can say that production system is a result of arranging inputs, their conversion process, the output based on some logic and functions. Now you can have the a proper diagram to understand it more clearly. That is, the land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship are used as inputs. Then it goes to the industry to process, and in the final products we are getting cars, houses, foods, and computers. Now comes the product life cycle. The concept of product life cycle concerns the life of a product in the market with respect to business, commercial, costs, and sales measures. Basically, in a simple way, the term product life cycle is itself defining what is product life cycle. That is the life of a product. In the latter, we can learn about the different stages of product life cycle. Now comes the goal. The goal of product life cycle management are to reduce time to market, improve product quality, reducing prototyping costs, identify potential sales opportunities and revenue contributions, maintain and sustain operational serviceability, and reduce environmental impacts to end of life. Now comes the definition in a mathematical way of productivity. It is the output in a period of time and input in the same period of time. You can have the figure given below. That is the input, then comes the transformation process or value addition, that is the production system, then goes to the output, that is the goods and services, then to the end customer. Now there is a typical diagram of plant layout design. It comprises product layout, process layout, cellular manufacturing layout, hybrid layout, fixed position layout. Generally, it is a typical one. It can vary from firm to firm. Now comes the pyramid of the different administrative positions. You can see the strategic decision makers are the executives, who is at the top of the pyramid. Then comes the managers and knowledge workers. Then comes the production. Now, if we exactly define what is the strategic and tactical and operational point of view, in the strategic we have the level of automation, material handling, equipment selection. In tactical we have the storage assignment. In operational we have the batching, routine, and job assignment. For detailed description, you can have this PDF where you can learn the strategic, tactical, operational level. Now comes the functional structure of a typical form. You can say the head is the CEO, then comes the vice president R&D, vice president sales and marketing, vice president manufacturing, vice president material management, and then the vice president finance. The strengths and weaknesses are also given below. Now comes a second slide, which comprises the market culture, product centric and the customer centric. These are different views of a production plan or system, you can say. Now comes the feedback system. The same thing which is connected to the feedback system. The inputs, the transmission process, and outputs all are connected through a feedback system. Next comes the same thing but in a different way. That is the customer is the end product, end receiver, or the retailers or the end customers, where the first is the engine, then the design, then comes the marketing and sales, market information. In between there are products, vendors who are giving inputs. Okay, the same thing I have given in a different format, the inputs, then the production functions, and the outputs. The same thing in a different way, you can go through it. Now again comes the product life cycle. That what was I telling before, the product life cycle is comprises of 4 stages mainly: the introduction of the product in the market, the growth, the maturity, and decline. Let us have a look on the pictures. I have given 3 pictures generally for easy understanding of the total life cycle model. The product life cycle model is comprises of mainly 4 stages. That is the introduction part, the growth, to maturity, and the decline. In the introduction part, the product is introduced in the market. In the growth part, it earns its reputation. In the maturity, it goes to the peak of its life cycle. Later on, it comes to the decline stage and it declines. This is the typical diagram of a product life cycle, and it is very important for your semester examination. So this is all about today's class. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have any queries or doubt, feel free to call me anytime. Have a good day. Thank you.